Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome back to SMIRK. Every other week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for a spirited discussion on whatever the moral or theme of their story is. This time, it is Amanda's turn.
Story time.
I have no idea what you're going to talk about this week.
Nothing. You know what? I tried to stray away from anything that was like violent or sad.
Or political.
Or definitely not political.
It's really hard not to write politically right now.
I tried really hard to come up with an idea that did not revolve around anything that would, stir up some feelings. It's just, you guys will probably actually have feelings on this, but not in a negative way. I think you'll just have a lot of good discussion on it.
So it's empty. It's a very empty story, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, it's pointless. It's wasting everybody's time.
Nice.
Exactly.
Knock it out now. Let's let everybody know the next 28 to 30 minutes are gonna suck.
Oh, no, this is actually probably the shortest story I've ever done.
That doesn't mean we can't stretch it the hell out. We'll get there. We'll find a way. We will get there.
Amanda will have to repeat the point 3 times, so it'll take up the time.
How rude. I'm feeling personally attacked right now. My feelings!
Try to lighten the mood, that's all.
I think for 2021, we should all just agree that nobody's feelings matter anymore. I think that would make everybody a lot happier. Just stop caring about everybody's feelings. You're so sensitive.
Or maybe we just need to care more.
Do we? Is that what cancel culture needs, is more caring? I don't think so.
Let's not talk about that. Not on my, you know what? We're not talking about any of the things that stir up some negative feelings. This is
happy. This is like a circus event.
It's not happy and it's not unhappy. It's just like a neutral, like a discussion, a philosophical debate.
It's like a nice neutral topic, like storming the Capitol building.
It's not even dark. Stop ruining my neutrality here.
I got it in there.
Out of all the people here, I am trying the hardest to keep this on neutral grounds, you two.
Fair enough. You know what happens on neutral grounds? Somebody takes them over.
I'm going to start my story. Tracy has shocked art gallery viewers for years, but nothing like this piece. Her goal is to make the spectator interpret the intention in their own way, leaving room for various perspectives. After only a few steps into the display area, and whispers began. What is this? This is a mess. It looks like a crime scene. Tracy's ears perked and a smirk made its way out. This is what she wanted, what she had hoped for. She knows what it means to her, but she looks to what others will see. In front of them sits a bed. The sheets are in disarray, the garbage can overflowing. Period-stained clothing lay atop the rug next to cigarettes, a pregnancy test, crumpled tissues, empty vodka bottles, lubricant, and condoms. You can imagine when a rich conservative attends a viewing, the last thing they'd expect is someone airing their dirty laundry in the most literal sense. Many critics huffed their way past, seeing it as a boring self-indulgence. But the viewers who could connect to it saw the vulnerability in Tracy's piece. They might not have understood her context, that its inspiration followed a bad breakup and a bedridden Bender, but they felt the emotion. The notice her piece received kicked off her career, and The Bed, as she titled it, became well known in contemporary art as the one that set a new standard for confessional art. It's short. It's done.
Oh.
It's done.
Okay.
I told you, it's literally the shortest story I think I've ever written. It's the most succinct I've ever been in words.
I would agree with that, for sure. 100%. And I don't think I know what the moral or theme is. I'm
Oh, really? I thought it was easy.
Art.
I'm stupid.
Well, yes, but elaborate on that, Zachary.
Dumb art.
Okay, you're not actually too far off.
Art is subjective.
Yes.
Okay. And everybody sucks while everybody's awesome at the same time. Participation trophies.
One might say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And with art, there's so much debate about what constitutes as art, despite it being self-expression. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, so you have in this very short story.
Whoa. We're getting to 30 minutes here. I would like to address the beauty is in the eye of the beholder comment.
Oh, no.
Sometimes things, people, animals, whatever, just ain't pretty. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not great people, wonderful people, but not everybody. You got to have a standard or you don't have a better than a standard. You know what I mean? Or worse than a standard, you know?
Yeah, okay. So let me introduce my question, and then you can go on your rant about your feelings, because I feel like you're going to have lots of them.
I'm just letting you know, negging doesn't work if you don't have that standard where you have beautiful and less than.
As we've learned on SMIRK, there's nothing more important than negging.
Oh my God. This is a terrible, terrible piece of advice for people.
Works 60% of the time, every
neg.
time.
Aaron and I are going to work together to melt this whole snowflake generation.
Dear Lord. Okay, so what is the line between what is art and what's not art for you? And I know this is very, very subjective, which is why I think it's the perfect way for us to have a conversation and debate on it. Because some people have a line, some people don't have a line. Some people say it's all within, it's all about someone's perspective. It's about as long as they're expressing themselves, then it's art. And other people are like, well, if it doesn't look like shit, then it's art. So I'm curious what you guys think.
Wow, that's a big question.
That's deep.
Yeah. What is art? I guess, the broadest sense is art is something that makes you feel something. I don't know. I would say art needs to be created. I would say art needs to be created by people for people.
Not for yourself, but for people?
Well, you are a people.
Okay, all right.
That's
I
good to know.
interpreted it as other people, but I get you.
I don't know, man. Well, if you want to make money from art, it's going to have to be for other people.
Well, I think she just means in the abstract point of view, art. Like, what is it? When is it art?
Here's an example. There was this crazy banana art that went super viral, and I think someone paid a bunch of money for it too. Do you guys remember this story from a couple of years ago?
Was it just like a bunch of bananas that somebody threw at a canvas?
It was literally a banana peel. That's all it was. That's all there was to it. And some people were like, man, that's art. And other people were like, man, he just threw up a banana peel. That's not art. But like, to Zach's point, you have to create something. Is it really creating if you just take something and put it on display? Something that's already technically created and put it on display. Even if it's your form of expression.
You're trying too hard. I don't know. That's
to
pretentious.
Be relevant?
That's annoying.
Yeah.
That's not art. That's irritation.
I really feel, to me, there's a difference between art, artistic, and product. And that's probably where the difference lies. Like, a lot of things are product. A lot of movies, books, TV, paintings, whatnot, they're product. They're made to make a profit. They're made to be sold. They're made to be rebranded and repackaged and, dispersed through financial means. And then art is where there's passion involved. You can tell in the way that it's drawn. You can tell in how crazy it is, aka Picasso. You can tell in how much someone puts into that work, how much, they spent their life writing a book, or they spent, their fortune making a film, or they, whatever the case is, like, that's art to me. Like, once you have a personal investment of passion is art.
What about those paintings that you'll sometimes see where it literally looks like art, like paint was just like spewed all over? Like, it doesn't seem like there's real intention, but somebody might have been in a passionate moment and they were just painting with their feelings, or they paint with music.
I think if it's personal passion, then I consider it art. Like, if there's a lot of music I don't like, but if they are passionate about it, they wrote it, and they like Billie Eilish? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Eilish? She has some good songs. I'm not knocking her, but I'm like, she's not somebody I'm going to run out and see in concert or anything like I could. But she, because of COVID, but she is someone that a lot of people are very passionate about. And when she is performing, you can see that passion in her. To me, that's art. And then you see someone like, I don't know, Flo Rida, and I'm thinking maybe less passion, because really he's just trying to make that money. So to me, it's that if you're motivated by money, I don't consider that art. If you're motivated by passion, personal passion, I consider that art. That's just how I see it.
That's good. That's a good view.
So to your point, what is not art? Is there anything, even in terms of the categories, some people consider art to be actual like canvas mediums, drawings, things like that. And they don't consider music and film to be art. When you think of the word art.
Anything that has a creative form, that is a creative form of expression, has the capacity to be art. And then Disney gets involved and ruins it.
Hey, Disney makes art. The Last Jedi is art.
That's adorable. Bless your heart. Yeah, so I think very much the consumerism can ruin art for sure. Doesn't mean that it always does. There's many big budget pieces of art out there. And then there's stuff like The Fountain that are just hot, wet, sticky garbage.
The Fountain is the banana peel art of cinema.
Exactly.
I'd argue Lady in the Water is.
Well, you'd be wrong. No, it's definitely The Fountain. Yeah. Yeah. That's my thing. Non-art is when the passion's removed, when it's just a product. That's
okay.
Yeah.
But it can expand into different categories, which is good because that's going to pertain to one of my questions later.
Well, no, to your mass market consumerism point though, like some of those things definitely make people feel, emotions. So like to me, they're still art. They can be interpreted differently by different people. I don't know.
Well, you have the right to your opinion. I have the right to mine.
No, you don't. Get off the show.
But I also, on the same token, Zach, to be fair, I also find the concept of what is art to be a pretentious argument often.
Sure, yeah.
When people say, like, Mank. Okay, here's a prime example of a recent film. Like, everything goes back to movies for me personally, but Mank is a film that was on Netflix. It was shot in a very 1940s feel. It's supposed to be what happened behind the scenes of the film Citizen Kane. And I think it's one of the most boring movies made of the entire decade, really. Well, you know what? The decade just started. The last decade, too. Yeah, super pretentious. But if you ask it, most people, they will say it's art. It's art. Because David Fincher had a passion for the material. Gary Oldman, the actor, had a passion for the role. And I could hear the argument. But when I watch it, all I see is pretentious. Like, this is just somebody that is just trying so hard to be unique. They lost sight of what their passion was. That's my personal opinion. So I really feel like you can lose your way. Sometimes the ego is fed a little bit too much, and that's where it becomes less art, more pretentious. I hope that made sense because I felt like I lost my way.
It made sense to me. I understood.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is like a weirdly hard topic for me to wrap my head around. What is art?
I told you it was going to be deep, but like a neutral conversation. Like it's nothing that gets too many emotions up in the air.
Right. I mean, I feel like the strongest art is something you make for yourself, but the idea, I don't know, is to make other people feel something, right? Like you make it sound like, David Fincher was trying to show off, not necessarily try to like reach his audience in any way.
That's the way I personally took it. But there are a lot of people that raved about it. And I'm just like, I feel like you're raving about it because it's not like everything else. And that's not a good enough reason for me to rave about something.
Yeah, well, I think that happens a lot in critical spheres where when something is when it's hard to understand something, it's easy to praise it because you're like, well, it must be genius.
And sometimes it's just not good.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know what? You can have art and still be bad. There's that too.
Pause here. So
wait, you never answered. Like, what is art and what isn't art for you? You didn't really say.
Well, you guys kind of covered it for me. I mean, I do believe that it's in each person's perspective. Like, I can't necessarily say that this banana peel is not art to somebody because if they made it with, like you said, the intent of passion, who am I to argue what their passion is and what they see in it? I can't argue that. I can only argue that my perception deems it not artistic, that I don't have any passion for it. Just like not everybody connects to every piece of art, which is the whole beauty of art in all forms, is that it it resonates with the people that it needs to. And the goal is to try to resonate it with people that it might not naturally resonate to and to try to broaden its horizons. But ultimately, you're making it for yourself and for the people that can connect to it that are like you. And I don't know, man, if someone's willing to pay money for a banana peel, canvas, whatever it was, art, then they obviously had some interest in it for whatever reason. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they had like
It's like a car accident. If you told me I got a banana peel painting, I'm like, I got to see that. $10 you could see it.
Oh, no,
All
it's
right.
not it wasn't a painting. It was an actual banana peel.
Well, of course it was, because you know what? It was a monkey with a beatnik poet's hat in the back just throwing banana peels at a canvas.
Here's the beautiful thing. Maybe somebody had, like, they were a research scientist and they had, they used monkeys in experiments. They're really drawn to anything with monkeys. And
So they tortured the monkeys, and then the monkeys like threw the banana peels
and they saw this,
in
and
anger.
it reminded them of the
Got
monkey,
it.
and so that's why they connected to it. Here's
Stop experimenting on me!
I have not the ability to tell you what you're passionate about, and because then it becomes
True. That's true. I agree with that.
Yeah. And so art is anything that you feel passion and creativity for. But I also wonder where our lines are on artists who recreate other art. Does that make them an artist, or does that just make them a copycat? This was not one of my original questions, but I'm curious now.
Are you talking about like the Psycho remake?
Okay, here's a really great example of something that I just recently
You just
found
asked a
out
question, and then she's moving on to her answer.
No.
I know, man. You got shots fired at Vince Vaughn, I see.
Yeah. Tell us again. You're hardly going to talk in this episode. Go ahead.
No, I just meant my story was short. That's all. Of course,
All
I'm
right.
going to talk a ton.
Go ahead.
So there's this app. You can take a photo that's already been captured. You take the photo and you trace outside the lines of it, and you recreate the image with like minimalistic lines. You don't see the eyes, you don't see the mouth. Blah, blah,
Yeah, that's
blah.
not art.
People pay commission for this. It's all done on an app. You're basically recreating, a piece of photography, which is already an initial piece of art in itself.
Mhm.
So does that make someone an artist because they're tracing the lines? You know what I'm saying here
Nope.
is where we
You're a
start to come
tracer.
into.
No,
You're a tracer.
Mall rats.
You're a tracer. Nope. That is not art. I remember, long story short, but when I was younger, I was in art class, and I was very, at the time, a very good drawer, a freehand drawer, and I'm not great anymore, but because I stopped practicing, because practice makes perfect. We had this assignment where you take this huge canvas, which roughly the size of a movie poster, just put it on its side, so it's landscape size, and you have it was on graph paper, and you're basically supposed to each square you take one little section, and you would basically retrace whatever the lines were, and it's basically like you put it together like a puzzle, and if you do every single box, you will have a picture of a tiger, which sounds really cool, right? You just like basically put little sections of you recreate in each little box. I could not do that. So I actually scrapped all of using that, and I just drew it. Basically, I looked at the picture and I drew it, and I matched it. I mean, it looked just like it. And they failed me for it, even though it was the exact same size, because I didn't have every little line in the right box, because I just drew it freehand. You would think that would be cool to someone, because I had a passion for drawing, but the assignment was to do this stupid box test. Now, all those people got A's for not really doing anything creative. They just put little circles in a box, and everybody put the same circle in the same box, and the same, shading in the same box. And then they ended up with their project looked pretty much the same. But to me, that's not art. Like, to me, that's not art. That was just tracing.
Well, and now we've come to a much different topic about how creativity is sort of suppressed in at least American society. Until more recently, I feel like, where it's becoming a thing, on Twitter and all of this, and Etsy, with all of these different platforms, people are able to get appreciated for their art. But still, when you think about the educational system, it's about passing assessments. It's about making sure you do that for your school, even if it's not the teacher's desire and they wish that they could elicit more creativity, there's a level of requirement just for them to receive funding. And that's based on assessments. And creativity doesn't exist in assessments. So how do we... Creativity kind of builds everything for us. It's how engineers are developed. It's how writers are developed. It's how artists are developed. And that's like a whole other topic too, about building creatives in our society. When
so what is the question? How do we encourage creativity?
Yeah, like what can we even do about that?
Well, I mean, as the education system as it stands, the people who want to be creative still are creative. You just kind of have to fight the system, which really makes you more creative anyway. You know?
By fighting the system?
Yeah, it almost like it takes a creative mind to do it their own way anyway.
That's how you get Batman.
Perfect. As many Batmen as we can find would be great. one Batman a week.
I'll tell you what I think people should like. Don't stymie when you have kids or you have friends and they're doing that thing that you don't understand, so you think it's a waste of their time. Stop trying to stymie their enjoyment of it. That's a way to encourage
Yeah, I guess that's
creativity.
good. Like, parents have some work to do.
Not only just parents, friends. I mean, family members and everything else. I mean, I can, I'm sure you each can attest to this too, is like when I was growing up, there would be people who would support me writing or doing things that, everybody else is like, go outside. But I'm writing and I love doing that, or I'm watching movies. And for me, a lot of it is like just studying filmmaking. And they would say, well, you just need to go outside, and they're trying to cut off your creativity because that's festering, that's feeding your creative juices so that the stuff that you want to make, you know how to make, you can make later, you can try to make later. And people that stomp on that really can stomp out people's creativity. I've known many people that were very creative and then they go and they marry the wrong person or they make the wrong choice or they, and then they're suddenly like, well, no more creative outlet for them. They're just living life now.
Oh, I bet you the video gamer inside Zach is screaming right now because there's so many people who tell kids that, no, video games are bad for you. There's nothing inherently good when in a lot of cases...
Well, you can't overdo it. I mean, you can't overdo it.
Anything can be overdone. Oh my gosh.
It's like, no, you can't. 23 hours a day is normal.
I don't know, man. Can you watch too many movies?
That's a good argument. I'm just in one day, probably. if I haven't left my couch.
You'd probably say that there are lessons you've learned and have used in real life due to video games, would you not?
Well, yeah, sure. Innumerable. I learned Pokemon taught me the majority of my vocabulary as a kid. But to those people and those parents who say that video games had no value, first of all, they're dwindling in number, so I don't really lose any sleep over it. Like other people I know. And the old argument of like, is video game art? And like the answer is yes, it's over, we're done. Like I don't know why people are still
it is art, yeah,
questioning it.
People still say it's not art. I mean, look at what goes into making a video game. I don't know how you can make that argument.
Right. I feel like honestly the biggest hang up is just the term for it. Video game. Like it makes it sound childish. So I mean, I feel like people still associate it with Pac-Man, but those people are dying off. So who cares? One by one, they crumble.
Oh, video games today wish they were as fun as Pac-Man. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, boy.
Get off my lawn.
I mean, Amanda, you're right. Growing up, I definitely encountered plenty of people who didn't understand about video game, or even when I was in college, 5 or 6 years ago, all of my speeches in speech class were about how the power of video games. And I had people who'd come up to me and go like, oh my God, I had no idea, video games told stories at all. So I just think it's a battle of attrition. Movies went through the same thing. They were considered cheating back in the day. It's just, or especially when they added sound. Remember, that was a huge point in film history of they're cheating to get the story across, etc. So it's just people always fight. The comics went through the same thing. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, so one of the points that I wanted to come back to is about, it seems like we all kind of have some belief that individuals have perception of art. I mean, would you agree or not agree with beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Yes or no? Just give me a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He couldn't do it.
There's so much more I want to say to that.
Yes, but you've expressed that it comes with passion.
Yes, I agree that Not everybody is creative, though. Like, that's one thing I just think is important. A lot of people are creative. Not everybody is creative. A lot of people are just fine not being creative. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, you need people in the world that aren't creative, too. I mean, how much stuff can you make, you know?
Okay, so you talked a bit about how art for you, Aaron, is based on passion, but you also alluded to the technical capabilities of whatever sort of art it is. So when we talk about awards for art and like best of anything, is that based on technicality? Should it be? Or is it based on passion? And should it be? Like, how do we feel about that?
I mean, it's based on subjective popularity. The most amount of people who like the thing, and I think that it's the best, and I think that is a fair way to assess it. If you want a group award, you know, if Best Picture, it should be the movie that affected the most. I don't know who judges. Is it directors who judge these things, or is it critics? Combination.
It's usually for awards. It's it's whatever guild you're with. So if it's video games, usually for story, it'll be the writers that vote to get the nominees in there. And so in the Oscars, the actors vote for the best actor nominees, the writers vote for the best writer nominees, and then once the nominees are announced, then everybody gets to vote on the rest and whatever's left.
That seems fair, because awards are nothing but an excuse to pat each other on the back anyway.
It's true. As a winner of 2 awards that I love to tell people about.
Do you have like an adverse reaction to awards in general then? Or would you gladly accept an award yourself?
For me, awards are unnecessary, but it's sort of fun to watch. I mean, it is very much like patting somebody on the back. And I do feel like a lot of times the real winners don't get recognized, and it's always a popularity contest. Whoever spends the most money to get their thing in front of their groups is actually who gets nominated. And I'm not a big fan of that, because that to me isn't really an artistic award. It's just more like a popularity contest.
You know what I've found out most recently that I guess I was just super naive to? A lot of awards you can nominate yourself for.
Yep.
What?
That's true. Yeah.
To me, that takes away all of the beauty of the award. You literally are patting yourself on the back.
Most awards are like that. Most awards you have to submit yourself to.
It's just so bizarre to me that's the reality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Zach, would you ever accept an award, or do you have like an adverse feeling to it?
Anybody who says they would not accept an award is a liar.
True.
So you want to feel special.
The only people who say they wouldn't accept an award are the people who don't get nominated for awards.
Okay, fair.
So yeah, I would take an award. It would be hard to take, I don't know, I guess all the credit, but let's say I got an award for comic book writing. It would be hard not to like want to, shine the light on the artist or something, or the editor. So I don't know. So I mean, I would take the award, of course.
Look at you being modest.
It's not modest, it's just realistic.
Who knew you had this?
I know Christopher Nolan. I'm sure Christopher Nolan thinks he does everything single-handedly. Yeah. But not all of us operate that way.
That 7 or 8 minutes of names after his movies are over say otherwise.
Boy, oh boy. Does he seem like a believer in himself, though?
He really does.
Is there ever, and think about this seriously and try not to make it like political or anything like that, but is there ever a time where art should be censored? Is there, because I know this is a very, very heated debate for some people, but thinking...
The answer is no.
Even if it's pro-hate or anything that's like really just aggressively, pro-Nazi or something like that.
Censored or edited? Those are 2 different things. Because here's my only argument for editing, I don't call it censoring, is if you have a great idea, a passionate idea for a story, you write a script, or you write a book, or you make a video game, or you write an album, and you take it to somebody else and they say, we'll produce that thing. They're using their money. So if they say, we'll put it out, we'll give you $20 million to make the movie. We'll give you $100,000 advance on the book. We'll give you the money in the studio to make the album, whatever it is. But you have to cut this one thing. I don't see it as you're compromising your artistic values by cutting that line. I don't consider that censorship. I consider that part of production. That's part of business. If you want to, they're giving you money to get your thing made. They might not make their money back, but they're giving you their money. Now, if you go off and do it on your own, you make it yourself and you put it in the store, and then the radio puts it on, or a streaming network picks up your movie, and then they want to trim some of it. That's when because it's offensive to somebody, that's censorship. To me, that's the difference.
But you are openly, like, you are vehemently, did I say that word right?
Vehemently
against people not even being able to submit, publish, all of that, something that is considered offensive to one group, or, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Do I think certain things shouldn't be made if they're offensive to people? Like, is
right,
that what you're asking?
Here's my example. If something is like pro-Nazi, like, yeah, Hitler, you know, like, it's not even about us. It's not necessarily a story. It's just somebody is creating a ton of, let's say, paintings or artwork or music or something like that. And it's just,
should we shut them down because we don't like it?
Yes.
No,
is there
that's censorship. That's censorship. Look, there's lots of stuff I don't agree with out in the world. I don't want to. If you start taking down stuff that you don't like just because you don't like it. Now, I'm not talking about certain services that violated terms of agreements and whatnot. I'm talking about if you want to shut it down just because it makes you mad or it makes you sad or it makes your feelings hurt. No, I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. I think the wonderful thing about America is you have the right to be an asshole. You have the right to hate people and put it out there, and you just have to deal with the consequences if that's what you want to do. Right. That's your right. It's not our right to shout you into submission. That's not what it's about. That's not freedom to me. That is just, that's just bullying. It's just bullying, and I don't agree with bullying in any form, even if you're bullying the bully.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a pro-Hitler novel about the virtues of Nazism, but Simon & Schuster is not obligated to publish it, and Amazon is not obligated to sell it. So it's just, I think you should make whatever art you want, and the government should not be able to step in. And it's just up to the distribution channels to decide if they want to host that stuff. And if they don't, then you have to go elsewhere. And if there was an audience for your pro-Nazism, there would be a way for people to see it. But like in that example, there isn't that audience.
But you wouldn't consider it censorship if, let's say, Amazon didn't pick up somebody's novel for their own personal reasons. I'm just clarifying. There are some people who feel that
censorship. Look, if censorship isn't evolved, censorship doesn't revolve around business. It doesn't revolve around a private business's choice. They don't have an obligation to put out whatever you have or to produce whatever you have. They're not obligated to it. They are obligated to whatever their bottom line is. And if they feel it's going to damage their bottom line, they have every right to not touch it or to get rid of it or to whatever. That's why they have all those terms and agreements and services that nobody ever reads, because they're covering their ass on that. So they can ditch you in a heartbeat. If they don't like Ariana Grande puts out a song and they hate it and it's offensive and it makes everybody want to throw her under a bus, they could just cut her off their services because they've got that in the terms and agreement. Whenever they signed with her, they covered their bases in their private business. They can do that. Sure. Censorship is when the government actually comes in and says, you have to change that. Now, when they throw Huck Finn out of schools, to me, that's censorship.
Yeah, that's unquestionably.
That's not right.
I mean, that's trying to erase history, which I think is garbage in general.
See, this has been a very good debate and conversation, you guys. And we didn't even bring up anything that I normally would bring up.
Danced around a little bit.
No, I avoided all of that. I specifically avoided all of it.
Well, nice job.
Now you want to talk about how pornography is art? Yeah, of course it is.
Ooh, that is a great topic. Okay.
Oh, man, when that pizza guy shows up, hey,
you know what? It makes me feel something.
Okay, so let's actually talk about this. So is consensual pornography that doesn't involve trafficking or anything like that, is that art?
It's funny. I brought up the pornography just to make fun of Amanda's need to talk about sex every episode.
And here we go.
And
okay, well, here we go.
And she mentioned sex trafficking.
Well, there it is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Well, no, I said take that out of it. Like consensual pornography.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, no, yes, it's art.
Is it art?
There are awards for it.
There's awards for porn?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
I've got a buddy who went to the porn awards, and he said it was a wonderful time.
That sounds like a good time. Although I've always wondered if your daughter's up for Actress of the Year, do you attend?
Yeah, right. Support. Good job.
Because they're gonna show. I assume they're gonna show a clip.
Oh my God. Okay, so first of all, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that this is actually real. And now I have painted this picture where like dads are in the audience.
There are awards for podcasting. Of course, there are awards for pornography.
And next up, Daisy Buttons for the plumber.
Daisy Buttons. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it.
Well, no, we didn't answer the question. Is porn art? It can be, sure.
He said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anything can be art.
You know what? It depends on if there's passion in it.
Exactly. If it feels like it's a product, if it's being orchestrated, if you could tell she keeps looking at the camera and wanting to know where to put her leg, that's not art. That's just acting.
Right. That's phoning it in. I don't feel anything in that scenario. But when the camera, is tracing the body slowly, you get those artistic angles. When Spielberg directs pornography, it's great.
Yeah. But here's what I want to know. Is this art? Because this seems to be a trend I hear. What is with everybody's obsessions with moms and dads and brothers and sisters? Like everything is a family thing. What? Where did that come from? I don't understand when that began.
What are you talking about?
Zach knows.
He's talking about incest porn. Of course, it's the biggest subcategory going right now.
What?
I think the honest answer,
I'm learning
Aaron,
so much about porn here.
is because I think the majority of people, especially in childhood, have some sort of incestuous thought, whether it's about a cousin, or what. And I think it's your first sexual taboo you generally encounter in life, and nobody wants to admit it. But I think the numbers, the viewership numbers of the pornography indicate the truth.
Didn't you do a topic on this already?
I think so.
Did you?
He did, because remember it was
Years
super
ago.
weird. Like, it wasn't years ago. It was like last year.
Super weird. Well, yeah, because it's something like in an anonymous survey, like something like 80% of people admit to having encountered some kind of consensual incest in their life.
You, David.
You don't remember this entire episode around this?
You must have
but
blacked it out.
I think we're good. Yeah,
because my simplest argument was the expression "kissing cousins" exists from something.
I remember that. I don't remember the porn being a part of that, though.
No, I don't think porn came up in that discussion.
Okay.
I was approaching it romantically, from a very adult point of view.
Oh, like I came at it like a child, like a child who just saw candy in the drawer.
I can't help it. I'm in love with my mother. Like that.
Oh my God.
Those
are real scenes.
You guys really took this to a different direction.
Sorry, let's get back on to art.
I was on art.
Oh, dear.
Sometimes the art's on me.
Is that his name? Did you say sometimes the art was on me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I cut that joke off. That was good.
Do you think my story is truth or fiction?
Truth.
Truth.
It is true. Tracy Emin from 1998. This was her story and her piece of art called... Oh, I shouldn't say.
What is the title of your story?
It is The Bed.
I get the connection. I get it.
Wow. Should have been there.
Hey, perfect connection to porn. So we can go with that.
Yep. It all comes around.
Now I am a child because I giggled at that. All right. Well, that's going to do it. And as our show goes, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read and discuss on SMIRK. If you'd like to submit yours, go to my story at smirkpodcast.com. Join the conversation by joining our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter at SMIRK Podcast. Be sure to use the show's hashtag SMIRK. You don't want to miss an episode, so please do that. We're also at smirkpodcast.com.
And as you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.
Yeah, Amanda, there's some freaky shit on porn. I'm just letting you know. Like, freaky.
How do you guys keep updated on the latest trends?
I don't know, but there's also a lot of people getting stuck in things. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, what I don't understand.
My hand got stuck in a sink.
Things?
Yeah. My hand got stuck in a sink. Oh, goodness. What's going to happen? Oh, thank God Billy's there to pull. Oh, no. He wants to have sex and I can't do anything? Oh, no.
What?
Yeah. So that's weird. That's weirdly taken off right now.
It's like she's trying to clean out a garbage disposal. The whole time, all I'd be thinking is, what if that thing turns on?
Yes. Thank you. But I mean, there's I don't know, I got stuck in the dryer. And then they just
What?
and they just bang the shit out of them.
In the dryer? They have sex in the dryer.
In a couch cushion.
They're bent over getting clothes out of the dryer. And then, oh no, I'm stuck.
Okay.
Oh no, and now here comes my...
dangerous.
Thankfully, my brother is here to help. Oh no.
I've always been waiting for you to be stuck in this dryer.
Finally. There will be no repercussions from this action.
Yeah. Oh my.